Palestine, bitch. Free Palestine, you fucking bitch. You're ugly.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to it. Conservative Confucius here. Let's get down to it. This is SHABBAT podcast, Friday's episode. Sorry about the being able to get this out not as early as I wanted to. The computer was having some issues, I guess it was my hard drive. So we're going to get down to it. All right, don't forget to go down there, smash the like button, hit that subscribe button, ring bell for notifications. It really helps our channel. Alrighty, and don't forget to share this video if you like it. Let's get down to it and get down to what we do on the SHABBAT podcast. Alrighty, here we go. All right, so we have Antifa has been attacking Jewish people with their pro-Palestinian pricks that they run around with, and now they're attacking elderly people in a library. And this little video here is what led to a elderly Jewish man being beaten. They start blocking his camera. I don't want to. I don't know if it's him that's filming or if it's someone next to him, but yeah, see, they block everyone. Here's the Jewish man right there. They steal the camera, they run away with it, and it records some quiet shit. And that's when they get attacked. And this is what the man looked like after he had been attacked. As you can see here, he had no bruises. He went and reported this later, and obviously you can see he has no bruises here, no bruises, nothing. And you can see here, lots of bruises everywhere. And that's what they do. They beat you and they say, hey, this is because you're a Zionist. It's not because you're a Jew. And you're like, really? Is that true? You really think so? All right, well, we'll find out. We're going to go into some more stuff and see if that's a bullshit excuse or if it's true.
Flag, and there was never the narrative of who the Israelis are.
So this is from Aviva Klampus, and this is Josuai. He's a Yemeni Arab who speaks for Israel.
Flag, and there was never the narrative
in support of them.
Who the Israelis are. I never saw Israelis and Jews as human beings, but rather as devils that have horns and just want to kill me. So in 2014, I moved to Sweden as a refugee because I am homosexual. And 2 years after that, I was at a student house with Swedes, and a guy came into the student house and he moved in there. So I asked him where he's from, and he told me he's from Israel. As soon as he said he's from Israel, I could no longer hear him. I could no longer fathom what was going on. I just froze, and my hair stood up. And I'm an Arab, so that's a lot of hair. I looked like a cat. And so then I looked at him like, oh my God, are we gonna fight? What's gonna happen now? And he was telling me, I have seasonings from Israel. I'm gonna make you jahnoon. I'm gonna make you the best Yemeni bread. I'm gonna make you the best Yemeni food. And I was in shock. Long story short, we became good friends. And he became my favorite person in the student house. And he was the first Jew that I met. 2 years later, I started working in a newspaper with other Jewish people who ended up being my favorite co-workers. So,
as you can see, they have no hate. And once you really get to know Jewish people and not the, caricature that you see on the news or through, ridiculous Twitter accounts, you start to realize that Jewish people aren't who you're told about. This is more from Josuai, and this is Israel State of the Nation, and this is I can't remember his name right now, but he's literally basically the spokesperson of Israel.
The Houthis' slogan is Allahu Akbar, death to America, death to Israel, cursed be the Jews, victory to Islam. Is that what they actually want?
Yes.
Or is that just a talking point?
No, that's what they want. I remember growing up in Sana'a, I would see the logo everywhere, and it's kind of like, oh, of course, curse upon the Jews. I mean, they're the worst. And it is it really penetrates your brain. And I usually say this: if you wish destruction upon other people just for the sake of destroying them, you are destroying yourself. And I usually say it's like my personal experience of meeting Jews and coming to Israel and meeting Zionists and like understanding what Zionism is made me humanize and sympathize with the Jews and Israelis. And it also, like, when I think about this, it actually makes me depressed, is that the fact that when it comes to the Holocaust, we're told nothing about it. Like, there's nothing about the Holocaust. And if it's mentioned, if it's something that's brought up, which you rarely ever hear about, the consensus is, of course, it never happened. It's Jewish propaganda, but we wish it did happen.
The Houthi.
That's the thing. You have all these people who say the Holocaust never happened, but they want it to have happened. That's the weird thing about Holocaust deniers. All the people who say the Holocaust didn't happen wish it had happened. They say, "Oh, I hate Jews. Jews do this. Jews do that." And it's like, really? Like, and you want to kill them, but you don't want to believe in the most successful, like, ethnic cleansing of not only Jews but of any person or any group in the entire world ever. And you're sitting here saying you want to murder Jews, but you don't accept the fact that Jews were murdered. Like, that's what they always do. They say, destroy the Jews. October the 7th was committed by Israel. It didn't, or it just didn't happen. That's what you hear. Oh, we want to rape and kill Jews and we want to destroy them. Okay. Jewish women were raped on October 7th. Oh, that never happened. It's like, dude, how are you saying, like, this is why people are so brainwashed into believing them, is because they say the shit that they say about killing Jews and raping graping Jews and all that stuff is just propaganda. And that the real stuff, they just want their country back, which is bullshit. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with Israel. It has nothing to do with their treatment. It has everything to do with the way they're taught from the day they are born. Oops, sorry.
Guys, someone in Gaza just sent me newly printed books.
Some Louis Ahmed
in Gaza to become jihadist terrorists.
Oh, that's his channel.
They are shocking.
So yeah, you guys should go check him out. This is Louis Ahmed.
Guys, someone in Gaza just sent me newly printed books that teach children in Gaza to become jihadist terrorists.
Told you.
They are shocking. This book is called Champions on the Lands of the Hostages. This is a poem that teaches children how amazing it is to sacrifice your family to become jihadists. This one is about a talented woman jihadi. All of this is insane. It is so upsetting to use innocent children in this evil and destructive propaganda.
وانت يا زكريا شو حابب تصير؟ مهندس. مهندس؟ ليش بدك تصير مهندس؟ عشان افجر اليهود.
Why are we teaching children to become jihadist extremists when we can teach them love?
They don't want to teach love.
Instead, we see what's going on right now.
They don't want to coexist.
October 7th, to the hostages, to the destruction in Gaza. This is all a product of the hateful teachings that we teach our children, and that needs to stop. Guys, this ruined my week. We need to teach our children about love and compassion and ethics and science. You know, things that build societies that function. Not this.
No shit.
Guy.
I'm not saying that's disrespect what he said, but it's just like you're preaching to the choir, buddy. This is from Anoroma. We follow each other on Twitter. This is just funny. I don't know if you guys have seen this video yet. I just thought this is a funny way to put this video up here.
What are you doing? Fuck the Jews! Did you just say fuck the Jews? Take the mask off! Take the mask off!
Yeah, well.
It's a hate crime! Mask off! Mask off!
Just leave me alone, man.
Mask off!
It's off! Just leave me alone!
On the ground! The police are coming!
Just leave me alone!
On the ground now!
Sounds like one of those.
No!
Sounds like one of those pugs. It's like, yeah, one of those pugs that just does that sound. That's what he sounds like. That's basically what every liberal sounds like, though.
On the ground!
What did I do?
On the ground!
Just leave me alone! Leave!
What are you doing?
Fuck the Jew!
Did you just say fuck
So
the Jew?
ridiculous. And here's more proof of their ridiculous indoctrination. You know, I've showed you guys like hundreds of these. I mean, I don't know how many more I can show you, but just an innocent boy standing with a flag. Oh no, he's shot by an Israeli person. This is what they teach their kids. Why do you think that they hate Jews? Why do you think they hate Israel? Because of this crap. You're teaching your children to be victims from the moment they're born, which is why, perfect example to kind of segue into something. This is why the radical left and the pro-Palestine movement mesh together so perfectly, and radical Islamists, because radical Islamists, no matter where they basically are, they're taught from birth that they are both conqueror and victim. While on the left, they're taught that they are both activist and pusher of progressive values and victim. So you have two groups that believe that they're both victims and they both have the right to push forth an agenda upon a society, no matter what that society thinks or says against that agenda. So you have two radical groups that believe similar, almost identical things with completely different value systems coming together over their bond of, you know, basically just the need and indulgence to conquer and their idea that they're a victim. Those two things together are what draw these groups together. If they were proven to be not a victim, if someone showed them that there's no way they could be a victim, then maybe this would subside, and the Arabs, the Islamists would just be the ones left, because no matter who tells them, no matter who proves it, they won't believe anything. And most of the people on the left won't either. But we need to do something to get rid of this bond. It's going to be the death, not only to the people who are, the left, who are bonding with them. They're going to all die eventually if this goes the way that the Islamists want. But it's also going to be the death of all the people who are alongside in that country, who are just, bystanders and innocents. So now you have it's not a surprise. Literally almost every real indigenous group on the planet, like the Maoris, the Samoans, the Native Americans, and not the college campus Native Americans. I'm talking about like the real Native Americans that know their culture and didn't learn about it in a freaking school from someone who doesn't know anything about it. So you have real Native Americans, you have, Native Samoans, you have Native Maoris, Aboriginals. Who do they, Native Indians, who do they all side with? Israel, the Jews. Why? Because they're the only successful decolonization story in history.
We talk a big game about decolonization. And as someone who comes from a culture that has been colonized for centuries, I get it. But did it ever occur to you that Israel is a successful example of decolonization from Arab imperialism, from Islamic conquest, and British colonialism? It is so rare that we don't even recognize what decolonization looks like, even if it was right in front of our faces.
Duh.
Israel took back their ancestral lands through legal land purchases and the right of conquest by fighting several wars in self-defense.
Yep.
They were able to resurrect their ancient language, keep up their traditions and culture despite being in diaspora for thousands of years. I can't even say the same for my own culture that has long been lost, and I can only wear this as a costume that isn't based on anything real anymore, like many of you. And as a native person, I recognize Israel's success story as something to aspire to.
Yeah, exactly. And she's 100% correct on this. So we'll get into this next story. The couple who were out celebrating on their birthday were left with multiple facial injuries after being attacked by migrant men. Okay, no, this isn't the one where it was the woman who was attacked in France. Okay. We'll go to that one soon. Here's more of that guy screaming at the other one. This woman is literally mentally handicapped, I think.
There's free housing, free health. People in Israel are living for free. Their entire life is subsidized, and I've seen it. There's free housing.
Okay,
free
hold on. This video is crazy low volume. I want to make sure you guys can hear it. I have to turn that up and then turn it back down.
education.
I pay
Okay.
People in Israel are living for free. Their entire life is subsidized, and I've seen it. There is free housing, free healthcare, free education.
Okay, so everything she said there is wrong. There's no free housing. There's no free healthcare. There's no free education. You can get discounts on things. You can get, like, when you first get Aliyah, which is like returning home to Israel, like a Jew going home, you can get like certain deals on things. You can get free certain things, but you're not going to get free housing. You're not going to get free healthcare. You're not going to get free education. But you do, when you move there, if you're at the right age, you can serve in the military. You don't, if you're born there, you have to serve. But if you move there and you're like, 18, 19, 20, 25 even, you can serve in the military. And then doing that allows you to get free things like free healthcare for a certain number of years, free education. And that's what automatic military service gets you, is that you get these things in reward for your service. So this is complete bullshit.
I pay $1,700 every single month for my single bedroom apartment in Israel. And I live in a pretty shitty area. Israel is considered to be one of the most expensive places in the Middle East to live in. Tel Aviv is considered to be one of the most expensive places in the world to live in.
Nobody in Israel is working. If they weren't funded by the U.S. government,
Nobody in Israel is working. That's complete bullshit.
Even with the help of the U.S. government, their economy sucks.
No, it doesn't.
Israel's
It's
GDP
fantastic.
is $525 billion, which is more than Syria with $9 billion in.
So Syria, a country that has 5 times as many people, a country that is literally like, 9 times larger, a country that has so much more when it comes to how much money it should have to run its economy. And Israel literally triples it in its value, I think, if I remember correctly.
GDP. Lebanon with $23 billion in GDP. Jordan with $46 billion in GDP. Iraq with $264 billion in GDP. Tunisia with $46 billion in GDP. And Morocco with...
Even all those still don't equal Israel's. But what's even crazier, Egypt, a country that's massive, has huge cities and is like 10 times more populous than Israel, still has a lower GDP than Israel. Their GDP is 467. I looked it up yesterday. $467 billion. Ours is 525. It's still far higher.
With $130 billion in GDP. All of these countries combined, all of their GDPs combined, Israel's GDP is still higher by $20 billion. Even without America's aid or help, Israel would do just fine.
Exactly. See if you mentioned something else real quick.
We have Jews living here. I mean, come on.
What people don't realize is that one thing I wanted to get into, actually, I'm going to do a video on kind of, I guess, more on Candace Owens, because a lot of the stuff she says is just ridiculously stupid. So when Israel gives money to someone to buy, or when Israel gets money from the U.S., they don't get money. They don't get cash. They don't get spendable money where you can go out and buy things. That's not how it works. What they get are weapons vouchers, where they literally can take a voucher. It's basically like a check that you can only use for one thing, and they can take this, or a ticket that it's only usable on this one item, or this type of items. So what they can do is they can go to American only weapons companies and purchase weapons with the money that we give them. And then Israel not only buys weapons with that, but then they buy a ton of weapons on top of the money we give them. So say we give them, $200 million or $500 million or even $1 billion. They'll spend that billion on weapons, only weapons from the U.S. So stimulating our economy. So instead of that money just sitting and then being waited to used on bureaucratic nonsense, paying bullshit, bills and anything that that doesn't help the economy at all. It doesn't stimulate growth in our economy by putting money into a business. None of that does. All that money that goes into, fake road fixing, that just a road stays broken for 10 years and, $500 million have been put into it and nothing happens. That's the kind of crap that this money, instead of going to that, it's going to Israel. And then Israel uses it to stimulate our economy as well as get weapons for themselves. And then they buy another $500 million worth of weapons with their own money. And that helps us even more. So then they gave us like half of what we just gave them because we help them, they help us. That's how it works. And then they give us medical innovations, technological innovations, scientific discoveries, and all kinds of inventions and innovations up the wazoo. It's insane. And then we sit here and act like, oh, Israel's, we're supporting Israel and we shouldn't. I get you not supporting Ukraine. What does Ukraine give to America? Nothing. Not a single damn thing. Not one thing. Their natural gas can't come to America. None of it can. So why are we helping them? Okay, that's understandable. But Israel, they give us more than we give them. After all the discoveries and medical innovations and amazing things they've done for this world, we get more from them than they get from us. There's a reason why we're in business with them.
Say I cannot buy a coffee.
Yeah, so the business owner says Jewish man cannot buy, they refuse him service because he's a Jew. And you may say, oh, it's probably because he's, pro-Israel. No, wearing a Star of David and had a kippah on. That's it. Nothing else.
Why? The owner should say I cannot buy a coffee.
Why?
I don't know. Because they recognize I'm Jewish. Why don't decide? You gonna decide or the owner gonna decide? Who's gonna decide? You or the owner?
Why is he prohibited from buying coffee?
Who's gonna decide? I'm sorry. I have a question. Who's gonna make the decision? You or the owner?
Please just get off the phone.
Okay.
Why can't he buy coffee? Why can't he buy coffee?
Because I have a keeper.
Why can't he buy coffee?
Owner.
Yeah, he definitely looks
I have a keeper.
Definitely looks white. Like, obviously not. These people are ridiculous.
I got him a coffee.
Oh, you got him on? Mm-hmm. Wow. This gentleman right here buy you a coffee.
That's very nice, man.
So much, that's so sweet of you. What just happened?
I just went inside. The owner should say, I recognize the owner should say you can. All the employees, they say, yeah, you can.
Disgusting. So, radical Islamists at university were exposed. Let's see. It's quite long, so you might not do all of it.
An officer of spiritual and religious life at Emory University. Vaid expressed how he views Hamas as a humanitarian organization and told our journalists that there's no such thing as Israeli civilians.
Hamas has been a humanitarian organization. It's been giving money to widows and sending children to school and building hospitals. Who created Hamas? It was the IDF, and they funded.
Okay, so sending children to school to learn to be terrorists isn't sending them to school. It's not helping families. And the money that the only money they've ever given to any family is money that terrorists get because the family, their son killed himself in a bombing or whatever, or shot by people after he tried to stab people, whatever it is. They give them the money because instead of him, if he was going to stab and then try to come back, he would get a stipend. If he was a suicide bomber or a suicide just terrorist, period, that means that their family would get the stipend. So the money that goes to families is literally terrorist. It's like an assassin fee, basically. It's like when you pay an assassin to kill, not when you, but when someone pays an assassin to kill people, that's basically what they're getting.
And they gave a lot of money. They gave them weapons.
Were those civilians actually civilians?
No. The reason they're not civilians is because every single Israeli is obligated.
So every single Israeli is, yes, not true, actually. Every single Jewish Israeli is obligated to serve in the IDF. Not Arabs, not Christians. That's bullshit. I'm sorry for my language. But so are you saying that children who were murdered, little girls who were beheaded and sexually abused, are you saying that they're not innocent because they might have served in the military in the future? What about the Muslim Israelis that you killed? Were they innocent, or were they victims because they were Muslim and you just happened to think they were Jews, even though they most likely even tried to speak Arabic to you?
You need to serve in the IDF. Yeah. Therefore, then you are a military target.
Protests at Columbia University over the crisis in the Middle East.
Pathetic.
Really, well, let me take off my pants and rape some women along the way, you know.
And then on top of that, the other claims that they're making, like they were burning them alive.
Yes,
I mean, that's
they were.
Yeah, so for example, like there was one that the baby was put in an oven. That was debunked completely.
No, it wasn't. I have a picture of it on my Twitter.
The 8 beheaded babies were debunked completely.
There wasn't 40 beheaded babies. A random journalist that wasn't Israeli, they were an American journalist, said that, and it got pushed by the media. That was not true. Okay? But there were beheaded babies. I have that on my Twitter. I'm not going to show it on here. I'll get banned from YouTube. But like I said, we're going to do something where I'm going to show all of the footage of October 7th on Rumble. I just want to try to get enough people to know about it before I do it, so we really get a good viewing, because Rumble's platform is so much smaller, and I don't want you guys to not see it. So I want to make sure that you guys see it.
Completely.
So you can go to my Rumble, just so you have the channel. It's the same name, Conservative Confucius on Rumble. It's basically like YouTube, just free speech for YouTube. It's just more friendly.
Wall Street Journal said about one documented case of rape that it wasn't coming from credible sources. I mean, it's kind of like, our American version of CENTCOM during the Iraq War a decade and a half ago. It was just this kind of misinformation, which is kind of standard. Yeah, I mean, the students, there's support being provided to students to make that noise.
Told you.
Be sure that things are fair.
Terrorists are paying them.
There's also improvement that initially very wealthy Jewish donors to the university made a lot of noise. The thing is that 20% of the undergraduate student body is Jewish at Emory. And the tuition at Emory with room and board is $79,000 per year. They threatened to pull out all of their children. And if the university suffered that kind of catastrophic financial loss,
They should do it.
They would not be able to pay the salaries of these professors.
Good. I hope they don't.
It was a real, credible threat to the university.
Good.
So they came out hitting hard.
Good.
On October 7th, that, anti-Semitism would not be tolerated at that and the other. But by the third statement, the words Islamophobia, anti-Arab bias, Palestine was used. So there was a lot of back-end stuff that led to that happening. Now, CAIR, Georgia, has filed a suit against the university for having an Islamophobic environment.
CAIR, or the Council on American Islamic Relations.
Yeah, they're horrible.
Advocacy group with a shady reputation,
Yeah,
to say the least.
terrorist connections.
Before becoming CAIR's founding director, Nihad Awad left his position as public relations director for the Islamic Association for Palestine, an organization that has been described by the FBI counterterrorism unit as a front for Hamas that engages in propaganda for Islamic militants. In 2007, CAIR was named as an unindicted co-conspirator in the Holy Land Foundation trial, a Hamas financing case that would result in the FBI ceasing its working relationship with CAIR, as they described them as a public relations arm of terrorist-affiliated groups.
Told you.
In the most recent news, Nihad Awad said publicly that on October 7th, he was happy to see the people of Gaza breaking the siege when Hamas attacked Israel and killed 1,200 people.
1,400,
Awad said
actually.
The people of Gaza have a right to self-defense, while Israel does not.
The people of Gaza only decided to break the siege, the walls of the concentration camp, on October 7th. And yes, I was happy to see people breaking the siege and throwing down the shackles of their own land and walk.
It's not their land.
Into their land.
It's not their land.
Not allowed to walk in. And
Yes.
yes, the people of Gaza have the right to self-defense.
Self-defense means someone's attacking you at that moment and you stop them before they hurt you. Self-defense is not literally going into a foreign country, attacking their citizenry and murdering them and raping them and beheading them and burning them alive and dropping, grenades into their houses. That is not self-defense. Self-defense is if someone's firing rockets at you, you have permission to fire rockets back. Self-defense is if someone is invading your country or has invaded your country, you have permission to go invade their country in response to that, and then make sure that threat is subsided. And once it has subsided, then you can go back to your own country. And then if you attack then after the threat has subsided, that's not self-defense. But when you're trying to make sure that the threat is silenced and dealt with, that is not like any type of thing that it can't be justified. Their actions cannot be justified. Israel's actions can be justified. This is stupid.
Have the right to defend themselves. And yes, Israel as an occupying power does not have that right to self-defense.
See, they don't believe Israel has a right to self-defense.
They gave me a heads up on it, and I said, listen, the other side's been doing that for
Oh,
a long
wow,
time.
hold on, sorry.
Emory is anti-Semitic. So why can't we make the case that
self-defense?
They gave me a heads up on it, and I said, listen, the other side's been doing that for a long time, that Emory is anti-Semitic.
Okay, so either they gave you a heads up on the anti-Semitic thing that was coming, or are you saying they gave you a heads up, someone gave you a heads up that October 7th would happen and you said nothing? Because that's a crime. Having knowledge of not only a crime, but a terrorist act before it was committed, and you say nothing, that's a crime.
So why can't we make the case that I was Islamophobic? Neutralizes, but I told CAIR that you have no idea what's going on behind the scenes of the university, and I'm not at liberty to share that with you. There have been Islamophobic incidents, and because of the strong sentiments about anti-Semitism being wrong.
Wrong? You think it's not wrong?
And no equivalency of Islamophobia.
Because Islamophobia isn't a real thing. Fear of a religion that murders people for leaving it, that beheads and throws gay people off of buildings, and thinks women are second-class citizens. That's not an unjust fear. Phobia, the real phobias, are fear of something, irrational fear of something. So if you're fearing Islam, you have every right to do so, and you should. So this has just happened in Israel. A man walked up and stabbed 2 Israelis in the mall. Don't know if they're alive. I think they were IDF soldiers. We're not 100% sure. But yeah, this is what Israeli people deal with every day.
Heil Hitler, fuck you das. Heil Hitler, fuck you das. Fuck all Jewish, dirty Jewish motherfucker.
Hello. What do you say?
She just spit on herself.
Yahudi. All Yahudi. All Yahudi. All.
What is it?
Yeah, they love Hitler, all those Arabs.
Are you Jewish? Are you Jewish?
Yes, I am.
Another Middle Eastern kid and a Hitler flag. Yep, and this is what we deal with. I literally was dealing with it yesterday with talking to people who are posting really racist shit. You guys I want to do a video on exposing the Gentile News Network. It's a collection of people, I'm guessing, whether it's Islamists, left-wing, anti-Semites, right-wing anti-Semites, whatever you want to call them. They post basically just Jewish propaganda and memes and videos trying to defame Jews, whatever they can. They make sure they do whatever they can to make Jews look bad. And some of it's really, really disgusting and bad. And I don't understand it. So, yes, a Drexler professor in Pennsylvania stole a man's signs outside of his synagogue. And is this more from another cafe? Or is this the same one? Let's see.
Ever for any of the world atrocities.
It's just another video from that cafe. Okay. Yeah. So what's the difference between this and kill all Jews? Just not the hostages. They don't want to free those. See, they at least recognize that they're prisoners, as in prisoners not only of war, but prisoners as in criminals, terrorists. But what are the Israelis? They're not prisoners. They're hostages. Why? Because they're innocent, you pricks.
Israel will fall!
Oh, what does that say? I'm sorry. Let's make this a little bigger. What does that say? Palestine is what? Is Arab. Arab. I thought Palestinians were their own unique ethnic group. That means they were native to the land of Palestine. But if Palestine is Arab, what does that mean? You're colonizers, you fuckheads. Sorry for my language. I shouldn't be cursing. I've been trying to get better at it. I've been doing good. But this is just a ridiculous thing. I guarantee you half of that crowd has no idea what they're saying. These people are literally just like the most ridiculous people in the world.
Where you from?
Israel.
Israel. Oh, an Israeli. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Where are you from?
I'm from Palestine.
Where?
No, you aren't.
Ramallah. Ramallah is a good place.
You're smoking weed in Palestine? You're smoking weed in Palestine. You're a Muslim and you're smoking weed? I'm sorry, that is not halal, buddy. Like, that's not how that works. Muslims are more strict on that than Jews are. Like, you're full of shit, buddy. You're just a Syrian immigrant or an Iraqi immigrant who came to America and then claimed you were Palestinian. Why? Because you get automatic status as a refugee in our country. Automatic. And your refugee status never goes away because you claim to be Palestinian. And the Palestinian refugees never lose their Palestinian refugee status ever because they're used as political tools, even though every other place, once you immigrate to a country and you become a refugee, then you are no longer a refugee once you've assimilated or at least lived in that country long enough to have a house and a job. You're taken off refugee status. But they don't do that. The Middle Eastern refugees want to claim to be Palestinian so they can always get benefits.
From Ramallah.
Because, for example, and that's why in the UK you see all these people these immigrants taking the houses that come up available for people who need housing, and they get the housing instead of the native-born English people, whether they're native-born, doesn't matter, white, black, brown, whatever. But native-born English people don't get it, while these immigrants do.
Ramallah is a good place to live in. No,
very good place to live in. You know where's not a good place to live in right now?
Tell me.
Gaza. Gaza is not that nice of a place to live in. You know why?
Because Hamas invaded the country on October 7th?
Because Hamas was...
Got you.
You're a very funny guy, you are. You're a very funny guy.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
No. You guys are all brainwashed, bro. You guys are sick. You sick in the head, bro. Mm-hmm. Just for being sick in the head, that's why you guys are looking at I swear to God.
So if Hamas would not have invaded Israel on October 7th, how many civilians would have been dead right now in Gaza?
How many civilians did Hamas, did the IDF kidnap?
That's not an answer. Answer my question. How many civilians would have been dead in Gaza right now if Hamas would not have invaded on October 7th? Your response?
Where you from?
Israel.
Freaking pricks. Let's go a little clip to Mohammed Hijab. Let's literally hear what Islam is all about. What do they believe in?
Israel. Oh, an Israeli. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Shut up. Sorry. So let's see what Mohammed Hijab thinks about pedophilia. Let's see what Islam is all about.
No, we don't think there's any problem with it at all. We think that it's just because we have a different idea of what it means to be a child, which can be tracked historically. But now, if the situation has changed, we'd say that the general principle...
Sneeko just looks so stupid now. He's just like... He looks like his mouth is always like... He's always got his tongue like on the roof of his mouth and his mouth isn't closed all the way. It's like... And you're like, dude, what's going on with you? You look like you're stoned or brain dead. Someone just gave him a lobotomy. Just boop, boop. Freaking...
in Islam is, you can do what you kind of want, so long as... I'm not going to say you can do what you want so long as you harm it. You can marry whomever you want to marry, so long as it doesn't cause them harm, physical and psychological. So, for example, if I marry a 100-year-old woman, or Sneeko, if you marry with your tank top a 100-year-old woman, and you get involved with her intimately, she might die. I mean, she might have some kind
random
of
smirk
health problem. So we would say that, well, if you
Creepy,
were to be
dude.
intimate with a 14-year-old or 13-year-old who's got huge hips and huge breasts and huge body, I mean, quite frankly, we would say it's not going to have the same effect medically. I mean, no one can make the argument. But in these countries where we live in now, one is legal and one is illegal. So, in other words, you can't marry a 100-year-old woman, but you can marry that girl that's you can't be. You're a pedophile if you go for the girl that's got the hips. And once again, pedophilia is very relative.
No. Yuck. Sorry, my face was contorting that whole thing during that whole thing. I just yucky. So let's see how the people in Gaza.
كله على البحر وطق راسك ب700 حيط ولا فارقة معانا حاجة.
Just another beach day.
هاينا بنسبح.
Just another beach day in Gaza.
وإيش بدك يعمل؟
Their cities are falling down, but they have enough umbrellas for everyone and
كله على البحر وطق راسك
enough tents for everyone. Hypocrites.
People that you've come for to engage, condemn the IDF.
To condemn the people that are protecting us from your people? I don't think so.
Condemn the killing.
Like you, we condemn Hamas.
Of children.
Yeah, the uninvolved Palestinians and their Hamas murdered and burned children. Some of them even raped young girls. They even cut a pregnant woman's belly and took her fetus out.
Of women.
The Sharia law people care about women.
Of old people, of livestock.
I love it when you pretend that you care about human lives. Listen, so many Muslim people in the Middle East just want you to care about them. So maybe we should feed them as well. We'll find maybe Lebanon, Iran, Yemen. Oh, Yemen. They need someone to save them. But you don't care about the Muslims killing Muslims. So maybe we should fight Yemen also. Who else? Give it to me. It's so funny because according to Islam, you should fight the infidels in peaceful ways. But if it's not successful, then you should fight them with haha. Well, but then the minute you are getting hurt, it's a genocide.
What was your stance on the ceasefire? Did you vote for it?
Why should he vote for it? Really, Habibi, who do you think you are? Ceasefire? La. Did you think that the Palestinians would break into our country and nothing will happen to them? Did you really think that we will have a ceasefire while Hamas and their civilians are still holding our hostages? I understand your common sense. Like, we would leave our dictatorship state only to promote the Sharia law in a Western state. Actually, it's not common sense. It's the goal of Islam. To conquer the West. Before you go to sleep, you should say Allahu Akbar. Well, actually, Al-Yahud hum Akbar. That the ratio in Gaza is 1-to-1. The Palestinians are lucky that their enemy is not the Muslims, but the Jews. But it's not the other way around.
Yeah, it's actually true because if the other Muslims were their enemy, if other Muslims wanted that land and were tired of the Palestinians, they wouldn't just go in there and try to extract Hamas and then let the civilians live. They would carpet bomb that entire city, or more likely, you know what they would do? Fire sarin gas into the frickin' cities and murder everyone, just like they did in Syria with Assad. Wake up, people. Opened up with this ridiculous video of people. Oh,
Palestine, you fucking bitch. You're ugly.
Oh, boo-hoo. Actions have consequences. Boo-hoo. Next time you shouldn't. She ended up spitting on someone afterwards. So stupid people. We got little Madrid Nazis. They look old enough to be Nazis. Actual Nazis.
Asesino. 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 Asesino.
Hey! No hagas fotos.
No touching.
No hagas fotos.
Hey. Asesino de niños.
Look at her.
That woman kept running up and touching me. I don't care how old you are. You're getting knocked on your ass. There's the stabbing. I can only show that much before it gets bloody. So, yeah, pretty bad. Oop, there. Got to go. Can't show that. So this is what's happening in the liberal cities all over not just liberals, every city in France. Or is this France? And this is Manhattan. Okay, sorry. There's the Liberal Party in France is going crazy, burning down things, running with flares. But this is in America on 4th of July. See? 4th of July. Leftist pro-Palestinian rioters are marching through the streets of Manhattan. I hope that flare sets that thing on fire. See, that's a good image right there. See, it looks like it's on fire. I hope it sets on fire. I hope one of these dummies is, you know, dumb enough to light. Never mind. There's this wood in Arizona that people use as torches. It's called yucca. And there's another one exactly like it. I really hope that some of those protesters are stupid enough in Arizona to get the wrong wood. It's called century wood. It looks just like yucca. It's the same kind of plant. It's even a yucca plant. It's just not good yucca. And so if you burn that wood, it kills you. The smoke literally kills you. It would be so hilarious if someone was marching through the streets with a torch of century wood and just the smoke behind them, they just start falling out. Like, oh, there goes another one. Another one bites the dust. That'd be hilarious. I don't want that to happen, FBI. That's not a thing I said I want to happen. I would never do that. They don't want to see this. Who are the guys hitting it? It's Muslim Arab dudes. It's not like, I'm surprised they're not hitting it. This is crazy. This is Canada though. But yeah, I mean, look at him, dude. Does he look like I guarantee you that dude's probably a terrorist. There are so many people in Canada who actually are terrorists, who live there, who got there and just like live there without ever being background checked. I mean, what do you expect from a government who invited a Nazi to speak for Ukraine? And then not only did the Prime Minister of Canada applaud him, but so did everyone else in the Liberal Party, along with the guest who was there besides him, the president of Ukraine. So both of them literally applauded a Nazi, and you could almost guarantee that Zelensky already had knowledge that he was a Nazi.
I hope all of y'all die, nigga. Nobody die. I hope all of y'all die. All kinds of people have been being sold. I hope y'all kill yourselves one by one. I'm from Florida. I'm not even from New York. What I'm trying to tell you, bro, his name is David, bro. If you don't want to believe it, you don't want to. What I'm trying to tell you, bro, whether you believe it or not, Israel is dying. You came out here not.
That's that stupid retarded person who got punched out by Alec Baldwin and chases people down. Oh, what do you say about the genocide? Yeah. Like a performance artist, and they call themselves a journalist. They're ridiculous. They literally walk around in a white, like, bleach blonde wig and say they're a white woman. They're crazy. Yeah. I hate you, Zionists. I hope all y'all die. I hope you kill yourselves. Yeah. Here's a nice interaction, at least.
And my parents teach me to hate.
So this guy gets at least one good interaction every once in a while.
I am from Germany. My parents are from Lebanon. And my parents teach me to hate Israel and to hate Jewish people. And when I was younger, I was an anti-Semitic person. I'm very proud to don't meet a Jewish person in this time, because when I meet one Jewish person, I want to kill him, because my parents teach me that. In the mosque, I learn to hate Jewish people, you know. Now I'm fighting against terrorism in my religion. We have so many Muslims, they stay for Israel, but they can't say this in the public because it's very dangerous, you know. And I'm here to search Jewish people, to search people from Israel, because I'm here to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry for 7 October. I'm so sorry. They make that in the name of Islam, and I'm very sorry for that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate your apology. Seriously. That's not a joke. You know, another Jewish person hears you, and I'm sure everybody watching hears you that's Jewish, and they support you too. Well, I know what the fuck.
You don't know? 1948. You don't know? Oh, go back to school. He said, shit, go back to school.
I'm in school. Maybe I'll learn it next time. Alright, I'm gonna have to find a police officer now. I was assaulted.
What happened?
Looks like he actually got punched in the face. Let's see here. Like some kind of scratch on his face. Right below his eye, right there. Looks like he got hit or something. We'll see. Yeah, he did. He said, I punched him. Yeah. I told you. I knew. Yes, he bruising his face surrounding him. Yep, this is from Ollie London. I was right, dude. I knew it. Yeah, he even said he punched him. So, yeah. So, in Gaza right now, Hamas is torturing Palestinian men who tried to take food from their warehouses after they stole it from everyone else. He's writing thief on their back, by the way. Yeah, I don't know if I can show this, guys. I don't want to get in trouble. You can go view it on my Twitter. I did repost it. So, Italian Airbnb host cancels. This is sorry. It's the Syrian girl's mom. I didn't see that. It's hilarious. If you know Syrian girl, then you know why that's funny. Italian Airbnb host cancels Israeli family booking with anti-Semitic insult. They said a message in Hebrew even. Wow. You can stay under the gas oven. So not only are they calling them vermin, like mice who would stay under things, but they're also saying you can, gas oven. Obviously, you get what that is. So pro-Palestinian Marxists stop traffic burning American flags. Yeah, these people are sociopaths, like they're saying. It's from the Shirion collective. Losers. These people have no jobs and no life and no family and just nobody that gives a shit about them. Okay, a Palestinian terrorist tries to take a gun away from an Israeli police officer and then gets handled justly. Fuck around, find out. Sorry for my language, but I think that one was just... I think that one was a needed to throw in there. F around and find out. I'll just say it that way, I guess. Like, why did you shoot him? Why did you shoot him? It's like, dude, he tried to steal my gun. Are you stupid? Like, of course. Yeah, you should have shot him. Just like Kyle Rittenhouse should have shot the guy who tried to rip his rifle away. Not only was he a 5-time convicted pedophile who had raped 5 young boys under the age of 9, but he had also literally threw a bag of wee-wee piss at Kyle, threw a bag of rocks at Kyle, threw a rock at the back of his head, chased him down while people are screaming racist things at him, and then he tries to run up to him, grab his gun when Kyle's against the corner of a building in a dumpster, and he tries to grab his gun, and Kyle says, nope, and just goes, bop, right in the chest. I think it's like once or twice. And then he runs out to the street and then walks out down the street with his hands up. And he's like, hey, I'm going. No, he walks with his hand, one hand in his rifle and the other hand up. And he's like, hey, I'm going to the cops. I'm going to the cops. And this guy is justified just like Kyle, because the second they chased him down, they hit him with a skateboard. Another guy pulled a gun on him. And I know you guys some of you probably don't agree with what happened on that day, but you don't know what you're talking about if you don't agree with it. Because if you agree with what happened here, then you agree with what happened with Kyle. And that's just the truth. Alrighty, but I think I have a couple more things I wanted to show you guys. So this is this is more on the story. You guys can do this at ABC 15 News. We went over that already, though, so we won't go over that again. Let's see. Here we go.
How could a religious man of your stature continue to oppress Palestinians in the same way the Nazis oppressed the Jewish people during World War II?
I just love that kind of question. You people tried to kill us in the 1920s. In one day in 1929, you murdered 67 Jews in Hebron. What was bothering you then? The Jewish state? It didn't exist. The Israeli army? It didn't exist. Kahana? He wasn't born. You murdered 510 Jewish men, women, and children between 1936 and 38. What was bothering you then? The occupied territories of 67? You started 3 wars with us, and you lost. And now you cry. If you hadn't started the wars with us, you would have had a Palestine a long, long time ago. We'd have been living together, side by side. You didn't want that. You wanted everything. You started, you...
Exactly. You started a war, you lost it, and now you're suffering the consequences. This is what every Palestinian needs to hear. This is what every Palestinian activist needs to hear. If they don't, they will never grow. And I doubt they'll accept this, even then.
My mother and father were just murdered.
So he's saying, when he's saying my mother and father, he's talking about a brother and sister of 9 years old and 6 years old had hide in a closet for 12 hours after their parents are murdered by Hamas.
I saw them getting murdered by terrorists. They see the terrorists from the hole in the closet walking around the house, and the parents on the floor bleeding all over and dead. And the dispatcher says, "Is this real? Is this real?" Like, this is early, like 7:30 this was. And he puts on the phone Tamar Schlesinger, a professional psychotrauma volunteer of United Atzela, a doctor, who's a psychologist. She was on the phone with them for 12 hours straight. She protected them from going out a few times. They wanted to go out because the terrorists were calling them out in perfect Hebrew. And she knew the terrorists because she was in touch with the army. 8 p.m., the Sayeret Golani came in, killed the terrorists, and they grabbed the 2 kids from the closet. Their name is Michael and Amalia. She's 6 and he's 9. Later on, we found out the sister of a guy was not killed. She wasn't murdered. She was kidnapped. And 52 days later, she was released in one of the hostage deals.
Wow. Wow.
It's so sad about their parents, though. All righty, guys. So I'm going to leave you with that.
It was
well, actually, we'll do this one.
Hamas that started this war, yet much of the world has forgotten this. They've been fooled by Hamas propaganda into imagining that Israel is the aggressor. Having seen this war up close, I can tell you with 100% certainty that the war would be over tomorrow, not just if Hamas returned the Jewish hostages, but if the Palestinians in Gaza brought up their children not to hate but to love.
Yeah.
Not to aspire to a cult of death, but to join Israel in a belief in life, not to believe in destroying a state, but to put their energies into building one.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry. All righty. So there we go. That's going to be it for today, guys. I appreciate you guys coming down and watching. I hope you guys had a good, view on this episode. I hope you guys share it. Don't forget to go down there, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. Like I said, share this video if you liked it. And have a good Shabbat. All righty, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one.